Alright guys, I decided to do a quick video on this since I was doing it anyways, and disclaimer, I'm not the one who came up with this. I'm just making a video of it because I never found a video of this. I had to go online and search and search and search until I found a tutorial. But I thought I'd share how I have been doing this for anybody who's interested. So, what I'm going to make are tiny doll eyes for, you know, anybody who makes figurine or sculptures of people, or I guess animals too. This is mostly people. I don't know how to make cat eyes. Or I guess I could, but I don't make cat eyes. So, get yourself a piece of white Sculpy or Fimo or whatever white clay and mix it with some translucent, 2-to-1 translucent one. You can throw a teeny bitty bit of red or blue in there because eyeballs are not perfect and they have different colors in them that are slight. And your clay does not really have to be clean and perfect because look, eyeballs are not perfect. And these are so tiny that you wouldn't even be able to see a speck of dust anyways unless you were like really up close and really looking for it. So, roll that out in your pasta machine, a very thin setting, maybe, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 cards worth. I don't know, I don't have my pasta machine set to that. I just make sure I have a thin setting. Then you get something like a tube. I'm using the top of a pen that I took apart because I like this shape. Cut out. You actually just start making eyeballs on your clay with this, and you want to dip this in some baby powder or cornstarch. Then once you do that, you just peel up the extra clay and you leave these stuck to your tile. This is a tile, a ceramic tile. They cost about $1 at the hardware store, or if you, this bigger one, but there's smaller ones for like 13 cents. I don't even think this is $1. It might be 25 cents or something. Anyways, leave them stuck to your tile. Turn on your toaster oven or your oven in your kitchen to get it warmed up, and you have to have a ball tool. I can't think of a way around not having a ball tool in doing this because it's such small work. You can see I have 4 bigger eyes here, but I don't like that size so much, so I have a whole bunch of tiny eyes. But this ball tool is kind of too big for those little ones. But use this ball tool and just gently get yourself a little indentation, just right in the middle. Not very deep, just a little indentation. Don't go too deep. You might want to make it a little bigger by swirling your ball tool a little. But if you make it too deep, what happens is in the end, the eyes won't show up as clear. So, I use that bigger ball end for that, and I have some smaller ones for the other ones. And just go through and get all your eyeballs indented. And then once you get all these indented with your ball tool, put them in the toaster oven for 5 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I should have probably told you this when I first started the video, but make sure that you have a set of ball tools with a bunch of different ends, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to accomplish this without that, unless you're very good with a paintbrush, which you could totally be. But this cuts out that art. You know, you don't have to be artistic for this, because well, if you're making dolls, I guess you're artistic anyways. But anyway, you also look, I put some paint. I have my palette ready because we're going to paint us some eyeballs. You definitely need the color black. The rest of the colors don't matter. They're whatever color you want your eyeballs to be. You need some TLS. Whoops, I accidentally grabbed the bacon bond. Let me grab the TLS. sorry. This is TLS right here. And you can also use Fimo gel. It's the same thing. It's a translucent liquid polymer clay. You're gonna need a heat gun, and that's it. I'm pretty sure. Well, you need a toaster oven or an oven of any type. Yeah, that's all. So just with that aside, let's start painting our eyes. And you want to start with the color that's going to be on the outside ring of the eye. So I'm choosing gold for some of these, and you want to choose the ball tool that matches your eye shape the biggest. Like, you want to fill that entire little hole with color. So let's zoom in. Well, I'm getting a little blurry. Let's see if I can, how far can I zoom in? Alright. So you already know that you kind of, you want to do 2 eyes at a time unless you're making a bunch of cyclopses. And that's up to you if you're gonna make if you want to make a cyclops, that's fine. Make 1 eye color. Or if you want your character to have 2 different eye colors, make 2 different eye colors. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I find it easier just to make 2 eyes. That way I can go and grab my eyes whenever I'm good and ready. So, just like that. Fill in all your eyeballs and we'll be right back. Blam! Done. Alright, so now that you got all of these painted with 1 color, grab you a smaller dotting tool than you used before. I used this one, and now I'm switching to this one, which looks a little dirty on the camera, but it's not. Alright, so you got a smaller tool, and don't worry about little mess ups. You got about a bajillion eyes right now, and you know what? If some of them don't come out right, it's okay. Now you get the next color you want your eyes. That means the outer ring of the eye, the iris, or whatever the colored part of the eye is called, will be your first color. Then the inner part of the eye will be a different color. So you just choose something. I'm going to choose this light blue, and make sure that just a little bit of the first color is showing, but it's mostly the new color. And do 2 eyes at a time, or with your color, or 1 if that's what you're doing. I don't know why anybody would want 1 eye, but you might. That might be what you're doing. I don't know. So just be careful. This is when it starts getting a little bit more difficult, because you have to be more precise with your colors. And I didn't say before, but you might want to wait till your eyes are cooled off most of the way before you start painting them, because what happens is when they're hot, the paint will dry like right away, and won't be circular. It won't flow into a circular. It'll be more of a jagged edge and won't look as nice if you do these while they're hot. Okay, and you just keep doing that with all the colors that you want to pick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got that all done. As you can see, I have 2 colors now. Now this is the hard part. The rest from now on will be easy, but this is the hard part. You get your smallest ball tool that you have. Well, unless you have this one, which is mostly just sorry, I had a video on in the background. Just let me I'll pause that. Unless you have this one, is pretty much a needle. It's really not a ball. I mean, it's got a little tip, but the smallest ball tool that you have, you see that? It's very tiny. Now You're going to have to be precise on this or your eyes are going to look terrible and cockeyed when you try to put them in your doll. You got to get it right in the middle of that eyeball. Now, have fun. Don't get too stressed. There's a lot to go on, and these don't take very long to make, so if you mess up, you can try again. It's no big deal. But get your black, get your ball tool, and I'll start up here. You get right into the middle and one tiny little dot. Yeah, and you might want to dip it back in your black every single time. With all the colors, I wasn't worried about it too much, but you really want to get them both the same size on both eyeballs, because they will look, you will be able to see it, you'll be able to tell, and it won't look good if you get this part wrong. Then I've messed up a couple times on these, so don't fret if you do. By the way, I wanted to mention that I got this technique from online off a website where a lady who's very talented has a written tutorial on how to do this, and I will link that in the down bar. And if you're more into being able to read what's going on, and then you should go there. This is just me showing. I do not in any way claim that I came up with this idea, because I did not. Alright, so you could just continue doing that until, oh, I messed up on that one, until you have all your eyeballs done. And sometimes you can correct it, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got that all done. As you can see, I have two colors now. Now this is the hard part. The rest from now on will be easy, but this is the hard part. You get your smallest ball tool that you have. Well, unless you have this one, which is mostly just, sorry, I had a video on in the background. Just let me, I'll pause that. Unless you have this one, is pretty much a needle. It's really not a ball. I mean, it's got a little tip, but the smallest ball tool that you have, you see that? It's very tiny. Now, you're going to have to be precise on this or your eyes are going to look terrible and cockeyed when you try to put them in your doll. You got to get it right in the middle of that eyeball. Now, have fun. Don't get too stressed. There's a lot to go on, and these don't take very long to make, so if you mess up, you can try again. It's no big deal. But get your black, get your ball tool, and I'll start up here. You get right into the middle and one tiny little dot. Yeah, and you might want to dip it back in your black every single time. With all the colors, I wasn't worried about it too much, but you really want to get them both the same size on both eyeballs, because they will look, you will be able to see it, you'll be able to tell, and it won't look good if you get this part wrong. Then I've messed up a couple times on these, so don't fret if you do. By the way, I wanted to mention that I got this technique from online off a website where a lady who's very talented has a written tutorial on how to do this, and I will link that in the down bar. And if you're more into being able to read what's going on, and then you should go there. This is just me showing. I do not in any way claim that I came up with this idea, because I did not. Alright, so you could just continue doing that until, oh, I messed up on that one, until you have all your eyeballs done, and sometimes you can correct it, and I'll be back. Alright, so now that you got all your pupils painted and they are completely dry, it's time to put on the TLS. Just making sure. I think this is a new bottle that I have here. Yeah. Just open up your TLS if you're like me. Sorry, I should have checked before I even... the little cap is stuck in. Anyways, mine's a new bottle, so I had to open it up. TLS comes with a nice nifty little spout. I would prefer to use something smaller like this, but the TLS comes in a pretty small little, has this pretty small little spout for it. Anyhow, you take your TLS and you put the teeniest, don't put too much, okay? Just put enough to round off the top of the eyeball. And try not to mess with it too much or your eyes will be very flat on top. You want them to be sort of a little bubble in there. Not an actual bubble, but a little bubble of, a little bit of TLS on the top. You might want to test it somewhere else before you actually, okay. So just a tiny bit on each one. If you put too much, your eyeballs will be kind of cloudy and you won't be able to see the colors or the black part of the eye through the TLS. So just put a very tiny amount. And just remember, you know, you're doing a lot of, you should be doing a lot of these at once. If you mess up, or some of them don't look good, or you get a little bubble, it happens. And luckily you made about 1,000 of them, and it doesn't really matter too much. Oops, I accidentally touched those back there with my finger. It's okay though. Before you start doing this, you might want to heat up your toaster oven, by the way. I put quite a bit on that one, so we'll see how that turns out. Anyways, I'll finish these and pop them into the toaster oven for 5 minutes. Alright, so now here's where we use the heat gun. Now when you take out your eyeballs out of the toaster oven, they're going to look like this. They're going to look like crap. And you're going to think, what did this lady get me to do all this work just to, so I can have these cloudy, ugly things? This is what you do next with your heat gun. This is a heat gun. Hopefully you have something like this because you need it. We're going to heat each one of these for about, the tutorial says like 10 seconds or something. I'd have to go back and read it, but it's always taking me longer than 10 seconds. It feels about 30 seconds before these will turn clear enough to look like normal eyeballs, and some of them won't, and it's disappointing, but that's just how this goes. So here we go. Okay, I'm back. So let's look at our results here. All of these eyes that I painted with the blue and the gold all turned out pretty good. This one down here has green and gold, but then most of all the rest of them didn't. And I think what happened was after I got done doing these, I got a little lazy and I put too much TLS on most of these. And see what I mean about having too much TLS is that you can't see the black part of the eye through like you can on these. That's my fault. But these are really quick and easy and cost very little. It's very, very little clay. I mean, there's a tiny little ball of clay, tiny little bit of paint, so it's no big deal. And I'm pretty sure some of these, if I would heat them a little longer, would actually show up. That aside, I did get some good ones over here. So that's how you do this. As you can see, it can be disappointing because maybe not all of them will come out. And I've done this, you know, quite a few times, and I always end up with at least half of my batch looking like that, where I put just a little bit too much TLS. It's really a really slight amount too much. And see, there's the one where I put the glob, and you just put a little bit too much, and it's ruined. Like, you're never gonna get that black part of the eye to show through. So make sure. Just a tiny bit. And see, they're rounded. And I'm sure if you do these enough, I only do these when I need them, but if you do these enough, I'm pretty sure you can perfect the amount of TLS to put on there where this doesn't happen. Like I said, I only do these when I need them. So I got a bunch of blue eyes. And a couple green ones. None of my purple ones. I can't really use any of those. Maybe if I heat up some of these green ones, they'll come out. So there's your tutorial. Like I said, I'll post in the down bar the original creator of this technique. Talented person who came up with this. And thank you for watching.